How's it going, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to another post-commentary feature match. Digging into some of my, I guess, stockpile of locals feature matches. Obviously, with my locals being canceled, we're sort of on a limited number with these until it makes a return. But as I said in the previous one, which was another Dragonmaid feature match, I did have a few more. And this is one of those. This is a locals, I think, from October 17th. I could be wrong. But sometime in mid-October, mid to late October, we have Dragonmaids versus Invoked Eldlich. There might be some Dogmatica in there. But either way, Invoked Eldlich. Pretty strong deck there, if you ask me. We'll see how the Dragonmaid strategy fares against it. Last time we saw it be pretty successful against that of dinosaurs, and that deck, as we know, is no slouch. Dragonmaid is still one of those decks, in my opinion, that is kind of flying under the radar. We already know a lot about Eldlich and Invoked and how those decks can interact with each other. Same thing with Dogmatica and Zodiac, all those different Dogmatica, Eldlich, Invoked variants. They're basically, they're all like the same deck. They just have slightly different titles. That's one of the reasons why I really don't like this format that much. I'm glad kind of Helki is kind of taking a step back with all the Invoked and Dogmatica stuff running around, because those two engines don't really pair well together, like the Helki Turbo stuff with the the Invoked and Dogmatica stuff. But it's almost like every deck is the same in a sense. So I cannot wait for this new ban list to hopefully bring some change, to break up what is that top tier of decks into something more versatile and more unique and diverse, I guess. I don't know if versatile was the word I was looking for, but either way, we're gonna see our Eldlich player immediately start off with that Scarlet Sanguine, and that's going to get the Golden Lord on the field to make live all of his other Eldlich traps. Not really make them live per se, but allow them to get the most value out of them. Cards like Conquistador, etc., etc. So now we're going to see the Dragonmaid Parlor start things off with a normal summon, and this is a Foolish Burial, I believe, for any Dragonmaid card, and it looks like he's going to be sending a copy of Tidying to the graveyard, which can banish itself to summon a Dragonmaid monster from the graveyard. Pretty good card, and it also has a very nice on-field effect, it being a normal trap. So target one Dragonmaid monster you control, one card your opponent controls or in their graveyard, return them to the hand. So that's a pretty nice card. If you ask me, it's kind of like a pseudo compulse, or kind of like a DD Crow as well. And it also can help return some of your cards back to your hand in the process. So Conquistador is going to actually remove the Parlor, and then Hakero is going to banish the Parlor from the grave when Tidying attempts to summon it back out. So we'll see what Dragonmaid also has here. So now we are going to see the Tinkek attempt to hit the board, and it doesn't look like there's anything else he can do, and that is actually going to be game one. Wow. All right. Very swift game one there for our Eldlich Invoked deck. It looks like our Dragonmaid player did not see the most optimal hand, and it was met with just the right amount of interruption, literally stopping his first two things. Stopping him like very, very quickly, not waiting for anything to happen, just destroying the Parlor and then banishing the Parlor from the grave and not letting him try to gain any ground whatsoever. But here in game two, looks like to be a little bit of a better opening here, and our Dragonmaid player actually getting to go first, still being met with some resistance. The Chamber Dragonmaid being met with Valor, and Hospitality being met with Ash Blossom. So that is very unfortunate. So his end board will be just a Almirage and one set back row. Very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Two hand traps. Very, very rough. Especially for a deck like this. But, of course, our Eldlich Invoke player starting off with none other than Alistair the Invoker. You gotta love him. And there's an Almirage of his own, right into Secure Gardener, as you might expect. What's next? That's Invocation. But wait, we have a copy of Ice Dragon's Prison. Fantastic card being played in today's meta. So he's basically going to be able to summon out the Alistair from the grave, and then once he does that, he can banish 2 monsters on the field with the same attribute, or same type as each other, I believe. So banishing both the Cybers monsters, that Almirage and the Secure Gardener. So removing the Alistair from the grave, taking away his Invocation from him, and also removing that light monster he had on the field, and also importantly, removing both monsters on the field that were special summoned from the extra deck. So that Ice Dragon's Prison there got lots of value, way more than just removing the Alistair from the graveyard, if you ask me. So Nurse Dragonmaid is met with Imperm, but it looks like he does have the World Legacy Guard Dragon to be able to bring back the Chamber Dragonmaid, if I saw that correctly. And it looks to me like Chamber Dragonmaid is going to add a copy of Changeover, which is basically the fusion spell for our Dragonmaid. Deck here, our Dragonmaid Duelist. Fusion summon 1 dragon fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. So the important thing about that is you can actually use Changeover to go into other dragon fusions that aren't really just your Dragonmaid fusions, even though they are pretty good, but you do have other options as well. Borreload Furious Dragon is a choice of our Dragonmaid player here in the extra deck as well. But going for Dragonmaid Show, basically says during each standby phase, you can special summon one level 9 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can negate the activation if you destroy that card. Also, after that, return this card to the extra deck and you do special summon 1 House Dragonmaid from your extra deck. So that is a nice little Omni negate there that sort of replaces itself and sort of recycles itself as well. So very, very solid card there. Definitely what Dragonmaid needed alongside the Chambermaid. And it looks like since he's entered the battle phase here, he'll be able to use the effect of Lord Par to be able to summon itself to the field by bouncing back that Chambermaid. And he's going to use the Hikaru right now just to take a little bit less damage. Because otherwise, I think it would have been like 7,200 damage or something along the lines of that. Because Lord Par has 2,700. Show has 3,500. And of course, that 1,000 from the Alistair. But now we're going to see Changeover get played again because he can basically recycle that card back to his hand via some cards in the graveyard. And he's going to go ahead and pass his turn there with 2 shows on the field. And during the standby phase, we're going to see 1 activate and resolve to bring back the Nurse to attempt to revive. And our Eldlich player has seen enough there, and we're going to head into a Game 2. Or a Game 3, rather. Game 3 situation. At this point, I would like to make a quick shout-out to our sponsors. Imperium Duelist, if you guys are interested in picking up amazing playmat, sleeves, dice, deck boxes, binders, check them out. If you haven't already, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Link to their website down in the description below, as well as a discount code that you guys can use at checkout to save 10% off your entire order and support the channel in the process. And if you guys are buying cards on TCG Player, which if you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you might find yourself doing frequently, please feel free to use my affiliate link to them down in the description below. Just basically use that link, shop, and check out like you normally would, and just like that, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase will go right back into the channel. And it does help out greatly, whether it is a big or small purchase. So feel free to use that whenever you'd all would like to do so. So getting back to the game here, Invoked Dog, not Invoked Dog, I'm so used to saying Invoked Dogmatic, but Invoked Eldlich rather, of course, opting to go first, as you might expect. Not wanting to have what happened last game, so we're going to take the chance to set up first, pretty much uninterrupted. About as uninterrupted as you can get nowadays with all the hand traps and things like that. But starting with the Kitchen Dragonmaid, that is going to be negated by Mechaba as he pitches a Golden Lord. And then he's going to go immediately to go ahead to fusion into the House Dragonmaid, which I believe has the same stats. No, slightly smaller stats than Show. 3k attack, 2,000 defense. Has once per turn in the standby phase, you can target 1 other Dragonmaid monster you control. Special summon 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position whose level is 1 higher or lower than it. When another face-up dragon, monster or monsters you control returns to the hand, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So, pretty good effect to have there to sort of combo off with all the other Dragonmaid effects that, you know, involve bouncing things back to the hand, especially all of their battle phase effects. So, Nurse is going to get summoned off of World Legacy Guard Dragon, and Fleur-de-Lis is going to go ahead and say no. And now he's going to go ahead and take advantage of the other effect of the Dragonmaid changeover, and here's that little bit of synergy coming into play. Targeting a Dragonmaid monster he controls, adding it to the hand, and then adding the changeover back to the hand. So that will trigger House Dragonmaid, rather, to be able to destroy a card on the field. Target one monster, rather, not any card, but since that interaction happened, now we're going to trigger that effect of House Dragonmaid. So being able to pop a card here and also being able to recycle your not once per turn fusion spell, as well as when your monster's back to your hand to help fuel it. And that is going to force an impermanence. So we've already burned through a Fleur-de-Lis. He's already burned through the Mechaba. And he's already burned through an impermanence. So now we're going to see the Dragonmaid changeover get played once more. And we're going to see him go into a copy of Show. So there's the Omni Negate that's going to help facilitate the engine during the opponent's standby phase. And then also with that now, I guess, get access to House Dragonmaid as well after the Omni Negate has been burned, giving you another opportunity to provide more interruption by, you know, if your opponent dares to enter the battle phase, you're just going to be bouncing things back, popping more cards. And also important to note that House Dragonmaid's effect to destroy cards when a dragon monster or monster control returns to the hand to destroy a card is not once per turn either. So we're going to see the battle phase happen here. He's going to activate Dragonmaid Welcome. He's one Dragonmaid monster on the field short of being able to activate its other effect, but battle phase will go through. He'll run over the Mechaba, clear that threat for the time being. And it looks like we'll see Scarlet Sanguine get activated here. And then in our opponent's standby phase, in the Invoked Eldlich player standby phase, we're going to see Show activate the classic Nurse for Chamber Dragonmaid to add a copy of Hospitality, so fueling up the board a little bit. And now all Dragonmaid monsters, I believe all monsters he controls actually, are gaining 100 attack and defense each for each Dragonmaid monster he controls. So right now, that Show is at 3,800. And all of the Dragonmaids he controls are being boosted by 300 attack and defense. So that's definitely pretty helpful here. In a matchup where arguably one of your best boss monsters really can only get over 35, can really only get to 3,500. And that is Golden Lord and your Mechaba included, unless it's the rare occurrence where you have two Alistairs. But then again, you have to save two Alistairs to be able to discard to get over something in the battle phase, as opposed to having that normal summon ready. Or as opposed to, like, you know, having a monster in hand to be able to negate. So we're going to see Fleur-de-Lis get summoned, or not Fleur-de-Lis, Magician's Souls, rather, being summoned by sending a Fleur-de-Lis to the graveyard. And then the normal summon of Alistair the Invoker. And we'll see if this is going to go through, but I don't think it's a good idea to let it go through. And with that, it is going to summon out the House Dragonmaid. So goodbye, Alistair. But now we're in that position again, where if he does go into the battle phase, actually, I'm not sure if he has access to the higher level Dragonmaids here, so he might not even be able to take advantage of the other effective House Dragonmaid here to be able to get those additional disruptions or destructions, whatever you want to call them. It looks like our Eldlich Invoke player pondering a Link play here, going for Link Kuriboh, and then going for Selene. She'll be able to activate its effect here, I believe, since there are a decent amount of spells in the grave. Bringing back Magician's Souls and then summoning out an Accesscode Talker. So looking to go for a bit of removal here. I do believe he has plenty of Link fodder in the grave now at this point. He's got the Almirage, the Secure Gardener, and the Selene, I believe. Although if he were able to clear all the monsters at this point, he would still be shy of game. But still having that mass removal is very, very nice. We're going to see him banish Sanguine to go ahead and set one from deck, and it looks like it's going to be Conquistador, if I am correct. So we'll have that ready to be able to act as an interruption during the opponent's next turn, because again, I don't think game can be secured here regardless. And just probably asking now his opponent what all the cards does, because he's probably very unsure of what any of them do. He's also got Link Karibo and Grave for banished fodder as well. So we'll see him banish Karibo, Almirage. And that's so far going to clear the chamber. And looks like going to attempt to clear Welcome. And then he's going to banish a Celine to clear World Legacy Guard Dragon, which he might as well clear. And then in the battle phase here, everything else being removed. So a successful field clear there with a Conquistador in the back line. And that's about as good as he can get there, I think, without having access to the Invoked engine. About as good as a comeback that you could really hope for. Now we'll see what our Dragonmaid player has up his sleeves. Obviously, access code right now doesn't... See, that's the thing about access code. He really doesn't do a thing at all during your turn. He's more so of a threat while it's your opponent's turn, as that's when he makes all the aggressive plays. So, doesn't have to worry about access code at all right now. He's just a 5300 body, and, you know, Dragonmaid really doesn't have an issue with dealing with monsters in form of removal. Obviously with cards like House Dragonmaid, etc., etc. And not to mention, the deck has ways of boosting its monsters up to very high attack points as well. So we're going to see the Hospitality to summon out what looked to be Nurse and dump the higher level equivalent, the Ernest. And then Chambermaid getting summoned off of the Nurse to be able to add a copy of Tidying. And then hasn't committed the normal summon yet. And it looks like he's going to normal summon the Kitchen Dragonmaid to be able to add Lorpar and then immediately send that card to the graveyard. So right now he has 2 of the higher level Dragonmaids in the grave to be able to go into the battle phase here and be able to get their bigger versions of themselves onto the field. Also, let's not forget he does have Changeover in grave to be able to recycle back if he needs it. But 3 Dragonmaid monsters out on the field, all that have the ability at the start of the battle phase to return themselves to the hand to summon out bigger versions of themselves. The Chambermaid will be lost to that Conquistador, but still has the opportunity here, though, to bounce back these 2. So changing out Nurse for Ernest and Kitchen for Lorpar, both having big enough stats to deal with both Golden Lord and the Conquistador, but unfortunately not enough to get around that Accesscode Talker. Accesscode Talker proving to be a bit problematic here. Really isn't doing anything to stop his plays, but it's just really big. Those stats are kind of soul-crushing at this point. So now at the end of the battle phase, he has the opportunity to return both of these cards to their hand to basically special summon one level 2 or level 3 Dragonmaid, respectively, for those 2. And it's also nice doing some of these Dragonmaid commentaries because I'm actually learning all of what these cards do now, so it is kind of interesting. And I'm also realizing how it's kind of an okay deck, especially with the newer cards that it has in its disposal. So going to link for Erratic Spheres of the Heavenly Seal, and that could be pretty nice here to be able to bounce back that access code. But it looks like our opponent may have top deck an Effect Valor. But our Invoked Eldlich player is going to proceed to the battle phase here, and at the start of the battle phase, our Dragonmaid player is going to chain Erratic Spheres, where he's unable to use the Valor there, so playing around Effect Valor to a T, and our Invoked Eldlich player is going to concede there, because that Erratic Spheres is going to actually generate a lot of advantage by being able to summon something like Nurse from the deck to revive something like the Parlor Dragonmaid or the Chamber Dragonmaid, whatever it may be. So Dragonmaid taking this match 2-1. I did actually have to go back and watch the fully unedited match there to see what was happening, because it was kind of hard to understand you know, how that played out. But the Erratic Spheres does tribute for cost, so Valor really isn't going to be super effective against it anyways, so that's a pretty bad top deck there, unfortunately, for our Eldlich player. But Dragonmaid nonetheless taking the win 2-1 in a very, very solid manner. So congratulations to Dragonmaid. I know you guys have been wanting a Dragonmaid profile, and I'll try my best to get one to you guys, whether it's online or in person, as soon as I'm able. Thank you guys so much for the support, and as always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our Divine Level channel members here on YouTube, Academic Thick, Zors, and Cadillacs84. Thank you guys so much for your continued support.